Shannonvale Mill forms a prominent feature on the landscape here at Shannonvale, just 2 kilometres north of Clonakilty. Rising high above the trees, it commands its presence to be seen by all. The tower is actually a giant grain silo, which used to store grain for milling. We may return to this at a future date, but today I want to discover the source of the mill stream that once powered this productive flour mill. A giant water wheel once stood alongside these buildings. In 1823, James and Thomas Allen purchased the old mill, and in 1826 they rebuilt it and sank a new tail race that trebled the water power. The O'Regans of Shannonvale Foods are now current owners of the mill, and Kieran O'Regan kindly took time to show me around it recently. I must emphasize that the buildings are in bad repair, and one can only come here with the owner's expressed permission. We started looking for what was part of the sluice gate system that once supplied the water for the water wheel. Sadly, there is not much to be seen of the original water works, but with the help of the model village at Clonakilty, we can get to imagine where the wheel was located, and also just how big and powerful it was. Usually the model village is open nearly every day of the year, but it is closed now due to the COVID-19 level 5 restrictions. My thanks to Kim McNamara, who let me in by myself to take this video. So it operated at the side of the buildings, and it was fed by a small pond here, where the water was kept ready. There's hardly a trickle of water flowing through here today, so let's go and discover why the water has nearly stopped. At this time of the year, there is plenty of water in the Argadine River, so why is there so little in the mill stream? We need to follow the original course of the mill race back upstream, and to my surprise, it actually starts nearly 2 kilometers upriver. I've colored in the original path of the mill race in blue here, so that you can see where it travels alongside the Argadine River. My thanks to Graham and Hessie Roycroft for the permission to come and walk these lands here. I was guided by local man James Deasy, who knew where to lead me. Indeed, he told me of many happy summers he spent here as a young lad with his friends, enjoying fishing and playing about. Our presence has alerted the cattle across the river. It's great to see them outdoors again after the long, dark winter. Following the course of the river, we come to this spot where an old stone wall diagonally crosses the river. It has fallen into disrepair at the moment, but its position worked perfectly to funnel the water over to the mouth of the mill stream. James is walking along what is left of the wall now. He said it was likely broken down after the mill finally closed in 1963. But if we come back to the start of the race, you can just about see what remains of the original sluice gate that controlled the amount of water that entered the mill race. It's here, hidden behind these trees that have grown out so strong. And when you look beyond the gate, you can see that the water is flowing nowhere. Sadly, it is now completely overgrown with shrubs and trees that have gradually reclaimed and taken over the ground. James was telling me that back when the mill was operational, 2 workers from the mill were sent up the mill stream every April and May to cut back the trees and to keep the race clear. I'm sure they would feel completely overwhelmed if they saw what needed to be done today to clear the race. Apparently, the well-known local man, Noel Farr, once suggested that this area would make a lovely walkway and nature trail along the banks of the Argadine River. It really would be lovely if this could yet be done. Thinking of how this old sluice gate might have looked, I can just about imagine a handle that could be turned to raise or lower the gate to control the water flow. Well, with James's inspiration, we decided to pull back the ivy and overgrowth. Just what remains of the original ironwork. It was hard to see. I'll speed this up a little. But then we found the original turn shaft, and you can see the screwing thread just about hanging on. It was time to head on, but we left with mixed emotions. It was lovely to have touched and rediscovered the past, but we were also quite sad. Sad for those who once cleared this waterway. Sad for the beauty of the river and the mill race that are so overgrown now. The channel that once powered Shannonvale Mill to supply flour and nourishment to so many people is now reduced to a mere trickle. On this Mother's Day, we reflect on those who have been a source of life and nourishment to us in our lives. We are thankful for all the good that our mums channeled into our lives. From what we have seen here today, we are challenged to keep channels open in our own lives. Paul admonishes us in our Bible reading to keep on being kind to each other, to forgive one another just as the Lord Jesus forgave us. If we stop the flow of God in our lives, we are in danger of becoming a stagnant pool and a murky shadow of what we could be. If we ever hear ourselves saying, "I'll never forgive them," it's like we are giving permission for a blocking tree to get rooted in. With God's help, let's cut back the overgrowth and have a Lenten spring clean of our lives by keeping the channels of kindness and forgiveness open. A better future lies ahead. Can you imagine what Shannonvale Nature Trail might look like here along the old mill stream beside the Argadine River? Also, can you imagine what transformed and renewed relationships might look like in your life? Keep the channels of kindness and forgiveness open every day. Let them flow from the source and through you to others. Mother's Day 2021 could be the beginning of the best days of your life.